People always ask how I balance my family life with 400 shows a year. I'm just doing what I love with the people I love. It's my magic life.
I like Wes Iseli. I like everything about him.
All right, today's podcast, we have a friend of mine. Man, I've known him for a long time. I met this guy in the 90s while I was working at a magic shop, working my way through college, performing magic. David, this guy, I don't know. What do I say? He's a good-looking dude, and I'm not alone in that opinion. David was up for the role of Superman in Superman Returns. And if you know anything about me, I'm a huge Superman fan, so that is so cool. David's an actor, a model, a magician, a pretty good tennis player, and an all-around cool guy. So everybody welcome David Gibbs. Woohoo!
Thank you, Wes.
David.
Appreciate that introduction.
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. How are you all doing?
Just hanging tight, man. Nothing going on. It's COVID times. We have not much going on.
Staying busy with the family, though.
Oh yeah.
Always.
Growing family.
Yeah, the twins keep you busy. That's for sure.
Yes.
Well,
thanks for having me. This is going to be a fun hour.
oh man, it's gonna fly by. I know. We did a pre-interview a couple days ago, and you got so much going on. So this is gonna fly by. So start with your acting. When did you get started with the acting stuff?
Well, I was born and raised in Richmond here in Virginia, and had a great childhood. Really blessed with two wonderful parents, a great brother. My brother was 3 years older, so he was always a mentor to me. And we just had the best upbringing, and really got involved in actually tennis before acting and magic. Got heavily involved in tennis at about the age of 11. So I played all the junior tournaments in Richmond, the state of Virginia, the Mid-Atlantic, and did well enough to play Division I tennis for West Virginia University and Virginia Commonwealth University. And really spent the majority of my childhood really just working hard at tennis from age 11 until played pretty much until age about 23. Went to a private school here in Richmond from kindergarten through ninth grade, and then after my ninth grade, I decided to make a change, and I transferred to a public school, Douglas Freeman here in Richmond, and had a great time there at Freeman. We won a state title in tennis, and
that's cool.
Had really some great teams my sophomore, junior, senior year. And then my senior year of high school, I decided to go to a tennis academy in Florida, the Nick Bollettieri Tennis Academy. So that was in Bradenton. And I spent the first semester of my senior year in high school down there to get me ready for college tennis. And I was fortunate enough to be recruited by West Virginia. They were a top 20 Division I school. And I got a scholarship and played there. Had the unfortunate had to have foot surgery my freshman year, left foot surgery. So that really set me back. And I ended up transferring to Virginia Commonwealth University and did theater and was a business major. But just kind of backing up, got involved in acting really about the age of 18. I started to do some commercials in the Richmond area. Some of the companies I worked for was Franco's Clothing. They're still around. They've got a location at Short Pump Mall and a location on Lakeside Avenue. So really nice clothing company, Franco's Clothing, and did some commercials for King's Dominion. Did some spots for them.
That's
and
neat.
What else did I do? Yeah, I guess that was a lot of fun. And got some of the films that came into Richmond. I remember it was my freshman year, or maybe a sophomore year in college. I did, there was a film called A Woman Named Jackie, and I played a young waiter in that. That was a miniseries. And another film that came in was Trading Mom with Sissy Spacek. So I had a small little role in that.
That's cool.
And
I like Sissy Spacek.
Richmond and the Virginia, really, state of Virginia was getting more, a lot of films back then. A lot of productions were coming in, so it was great. And that's really, I got the acting bug in I would say freshman year in high school, in college rather.
So the whole Franco clothing thing, is your picture still on the wall in that place? How does that work?
It used to be, but no, not anymore. My mother, actually, we did some spots, some commercials for them, and he's a great guy, the owner of the company, Franco, wonderful man, and we did spots for him. I did some print ads also for the Richmond Times-Dispatch. So I did some modeling in late high school, kind of college time as well. So.
Well, I know, what was the King's Dominion spots?
They were, it was Star Trek. It was Star Trek trivia. I think you remember Star Trek was big way back in the kind of early to mid-90s, and I was doing trivia questions. So I did them for about, I guess it was about 10 different evenings. Each night I would ask just questions, Star Trek trivia questions. So
was this at the park, or was this like a local?
Yeah, we shot them up at King's Dominion, and it was Fox 35 was the station, the local station. So it was a lot of fun. It was I was the on-camera guy, obviously, and then they had the Klingons behind me in full makeup. So there were about 3 of them in full makeup. So it was a lot of fun.
Do you still have those commercials? Do you have any of that?
I do.
You got to put that on your Instagram. I want to see that.
I know. I've still got them on VHS.
That's awesome.
About VHS tapes way back when.
What about the Mellow Yellow stuff?
Yep, I did a spot for Mellow Yellow. I did a commercial for out at the Richmond International Raceway with Kyle Petty, who was Richard Petty's son, and that was a lot of fun. They had the NASCAR vehicles going around the track, and Mellow Yellow it's still a pretty popular drink, I would say, but it was huge back in the 90s, and I did that for Mellow Yellow. Yes.
So you weren't in a race car, though? Were you just like a...
I was not. Yeah, I was just... They did... I'm trying to remember. It was... he drove up, and I had some lines, so it was about Mellow Yellow, and I was a young guy, and it was a fun spot. So, and he was a really good guy.
Wow.
Kyle Petty, very nice guy.
Well, how did you get, just my own curiosity, how did you get involved in doing the commercials? Did you just see an advertisement that said, hey, come on out, and it was a casting call? Or how did you first find out about it?
Yeah, I was always interested in film and TV. I mean, I think that kind of started, I would say, junior, senior year in high school. I was like, man, acting seems pretty interesting and fun. So I just started exploring locally, and a gentleman, Stan Kelly, was teaching an acting class. There was an agency called Uptown Talent. And Liz Marks owned Uptown Talent, and she was the local agent as well and casting director. So I contacted them, and I started taking some classes, and I just started to explore what was available in the Richmond area.
Okay.
And, so that's kind of how it all started. I got Liz Marks as an agent, and then I just started to audition as much as I could.
Nice. I always just wonder how people do that, if they just see an ad or they do something like what you said. I've always been curious about that certain aspect of things, I suppose. So, neat.
Well, with Trading Mom, you also did Major Pain, and there was some other stuff you did around that certain time, too.
I did, yeah. Major Pain was a film that came in, and let's see, what else? The Foreign Student was a project I was a part of. That was with Robin Gibbons. And it was pretty much those 3. They came in within, I guess, about a year or two. It was Foreign Student, Trading Mom, and Major Pain. And that really got me interested in thinking about going out to Los Angeles.
So were all of those filmed in the Richmond area?
They were all filmed in Virginia.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay.
Yes, they sure were, all 3 of those.
You ever see Major Pain?
Yeah, I think I watched it with you.
That's a funny movie.
Yeah. We'll have to watch it again so we can see him.
Yeah.
David Wayans. Yeah, David Wayans was the lead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So at this time you're doing acting. Now you've left and you're going to L.A.?
Yeah. Well, what really took me out to Los Angeles, after it was actually during my junior year in college at Virginia Commonwealth University, met a gentleman, Dick Robertson, and he had gone to VCU, and he was visiting from LA, from Burbank, where Warner Brothers was. But I was introduced to him through a contact at VCU, and Dick was the president of television distribution for Warner Brothers for domestic television distribution, and just a very giving person. But we just really hit it off. We actually played tennis the first time we met down at VCU. And I just started talking to him. I said, look, I'm very interested in trying to get out to LA, but I really don't know anyone out there. And I said, would you consider having me as your intern, where I could just come out and help you out? I'll work for free. I just want to learn about the TV business and see if it might be a good fit for me. And he said, well, let me think about it. So this was probably in March of 1993. Gosh, I'm dating myself. But it was in March 1993, and he ended up calling me in June 93, and he said, look, I've thought about, why don't you come out for a couple of weeks this summer, which was the summer of 93, and you can be my intern. You can kind of take a look at the different departments in TV distribution. So I said, wow, what a great opportunity. So that got me out there that summer of 93. And from there, I had access to the Warner Brothers studio a lot there in Burbank, met a lot of people. And my plan was just to be there 2 weeks that summer. But I met Jay Leno, and I was pretty persistent. And I said, look, I've just finished this internship with this gentleman at Warner Brothers. Would you be interested in maybe bringing me on as an intern for your show? And he wrote down his assistant's name, and he said, look, why don't you give her a call? So I did immediately, and I ended up working for him for 6 weeks, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
Dude, that is so awesome.
Yeah, that is.
It was really a great story. It was, and I almost stayed out there. Now, I had not graduated from college yet. I was a business administration major at VCU. So this brought me to I guess the first part of August 1993, and I said, I think I want to stay. And I just said, you know what, let me go back home. LA's not going anywhere. I need to graduate, finish my business degree, and then I can come back a year later in the summer of 94. So that's what I ended up doing, and I think I made the right decision. I'm so glad that I finished college and got my degree and finished up tennis at VCU and graduated June of 94 from VCU and moved to LA full-time August 1994. So that's... Well,
you already moved back home, but I got questions about Jay Leno. How was that?
It was a great experience. Very, very good guy. Very, businesslike when he's not on camera. But really learned a lot. Were you
some of the guests were you like a PA, or were you?
There you go. Yeah, kind of an office PA.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just would run some errands here and there, and just learning the ropes and how a TV show worked, like that, a talk show.
So did you see any of the writers or anything, or is that on a different wing? Yeah.
I saw how they had their writing, the writing staff. Got to know them and really saw how a talk show worked. And he certainly worked extremely hard, Jay Leno. And on the weekends he would go off and do his stand-up.
Right.
So he's a hard worker. He really was, and it was a great opportunity, real good for my resume. So to be able to put that on it.
Yeah, I'm sure that does look good. No kidding.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome, man. I think it's really cool. I was waiting for some behind the scenes stuff, but I don't know. You don't have any juicy stories you could share?
Gosh.
Did you see him drive up in those old timey cars every day?
Oh my gosh, he had a different car just about every day. He had a big car collection even back then. He had a Viper. That was my favorite car back then. Was the Dodge Viper, that RT10, I believe it was. That was my favorite car, and he had one. But he had multiple cars. So
that's so awesome.
Yep.
Anyway, all right. So you're back home. You graduated in 94.
Came back, finished up VCU. So that kind of brings us. My grandfather was extremely close to passed away in July of 94, a month after I graduated from VCU. And that was very painful. That was my mother's father in Charlottesville. So I really grew up, Wes, going to Charlottesville just about every other weekend because both sets of my grandparents lived in Charlottesville. And that's, of course, how I met you down at the Magic Shop in Charlottesville. So I have wonderful memories of Charlottesville and that whole area. But that summer of 94, August 94, I'll never forget it. August 8th, 1994, I boarded a plane from D.C. and flew nonstop to L.A. And I was fortunate. I stayed with family friends. They had just moved to L.A. from Indiana. So they were originally from the Richmond area. My parents were close to them, so stayed with them the first few weeks and in a place called Monrovia, and then finally just met someone at Warner Brothers, and he was a writer and became his roommate. So and my first apartment was in North Hollywood, and I pretty much stayed throughout my time in LA in the North Hollywood, Sherman Oaks, Studio City area, which is known as the San Fernando Valley. So,
yeah, and that's all known. If you know anything about LA and show business, that's all. Everybody lives in those.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. But I was really fortunate, Wes. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about kind of my jobs that I had out there. I was very fortunate. I was when I first got out there in August 8th, I temped. I was just a temp. I was just trying to find some sort of job, maybe get back with Warner Brothers, some of the contacts I met there in the summer of 93. But I was very fortunate about it. Within a month, I got an opportunity with a production company called New Regency Productions. And they still are a pretty prominent production company even today. But back then, they were doing just huge films. So I was really fortunate. I met a guy who's still a very close friend, and he got me a job with New Regency. And Arnon Milchan was and still is the owner of the company, and they've just done some huge films. JFK, if you look up Arnon, ARNON, Milchan, MILCHAN on IMDb.
So when you say New Regency, I can see the font at the beginning of the movie show up, or at the end of the movie.
Yep,
their little logo. My dad owned a video store, so a lot of this stuff I get flashbacks. But I know that company.
You remember the R?
Yeah.
The R. Yep, that's what it was, New Regency. So that was really great to get in with that company. Got my feet wet. I worked in the story department and just learned how scripts were developed, and just hundreds of scripts that would come in on a monthly basis. It was just incredible to see how many scripts were floating around out there. I remember every Friday I would, along with a couple other individuals, we would have to Xerox. Back then email just wasn't around, and it was the hard copies that we had to physically print off these Xerox all these scripts and put them in the banker boxes, and we had readers that would do coverage on these scripts. So most were never picked up or bought, but a few became films. So I worked for Regency for close to a year, and started to book some commercials out there, and some work for some really great companies. Nike. I did some print ads for Nike. I did some stuff for Adidas. Gosh, I worked for McDonald's. Did a McDonald's commercial. So
what was the McDonald's? Tell me about the Nike commercial. Was you in a tennis outfit? Because I've seen that picture.
Yeah.
What was the Adidas? Were you in tennis attire as well?
Yeah. That was another tennis oriented project, and I was real fortunate with Nike. I did about 4 or 5 different jobs for Nike, and I got to meet the CEO, Phil Knight. We did a show at the Hard Rock Casino in Las Vegas, and it was just a few of us, but we did kind of a live show with their newest line of clothing, and he was there, and the top I guess brass with Nike was on hand. So that was a great experience.
All right, so tell me about the McDonald's commercial. What was that?
That was another tennis spot with McDonald's.
Oh, wow.
And it was a tie-in. I won the job, and it was a great spot that it ran for probably about half a year. It was a good run on it. It's about a 6-month run.
Now, was that a national commercial?
It was a national spot. It sure was.
Cool, man.
Yep. Yeah. So.
Can I find that on YouTube?
You might be able to. I tell you, another really great commercial I did was Industrial Light Magic. I booked a spot, and it only showed in Italy, but it was a spinoff of The Mask. I don't know if you remember that Jim Carrey film, but you should be able to find that on YouTube. But it was a great spot, and I went up to San Francisco and shot that with Industrial Light Magic, and they did all the special effects for the Star Wars films, and just a great company to work for. So what was
the script of the commercial? What did you have to do?
Yeah, it was a bubble gum, an Italian bubble gum. It was called Babel, Babel, Babel bubble gum. And I just spun and then turned into this mask character. But they put prosthetics on my face. The makeup took about 4 hours.
That is so awesome.
Or maybe it was about 3 hours of prosthetics. So it was a very interesting experience for me because they did a mold of my face.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're claustrophobic, but it was very strange because they put this goo all the way down your head, your face, and you feel like you're going to suffocate.
Yeah. Did they give you straws?
Yep. The 2 holes for your nose.
Yep. I wanted to be a special effects man. That's what I wanted to do with my life before. Yeah, magic. So, yep.
Yep. So, But it was a great experience, that commercial, and really, I've been fortunate. I was able to get an agent right away when I got out to LA, and it was always a juggling act, Wes, because I was always working a regular job, whether it was with New Regency Productions. I also worked for a great company called Morgan Creek Productions, and still very close to the CEO's sons, even today.
Now, is Morgan Creek still around? I remember that logo as well.
Are.
Yeah.
Morgan Creek is. They're not doing as many films as they used to, but they did some huge films in the 90s. They did Ace Ventura 1 and 2. They did Robin Hood with Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
They did Free Jack. So I worked for them. Eventually got into quality control, QC, really taking a look at the films and figuring out the flaws in the post-production process.
Is that a lot of pressure?
It is. I mean, you don't want to miss anything, like digital hits.
But people do.
Like that.
And then what happens? I mean, we were watching Terminator 2 last night, or a couple nights ago, and I was showing Natalie all the flaws that I know. That's what changed me from wanting to be a special effects man. Terminator 2 came out when I was in high school, and it was like, well, there's no more such thing as special effects. If in 30 years in the future I'm trying to raise a family, it's all going to be CGI. Right. I can't sit at a computer for 30 hours a day, so let's try magic.
Yeah.
So that movie changed my life, but there is flaws in that movie.
Yes.
So do they get in trouble and repercussion later, or what happens? Because some of these flaws they don't find until years later. Yeah,
it's changed so much since I've been in post-production. Now they're digital files, and back then, Wes, everything was shot pretty much on 35 millimeter on film, and now nothing is shot on film. It's all digital.
Right.
So it's just the whole filmmaking and television process has changed so much in 15, 20 years. But I was real fortunate. As I mentioned, I worked for New Regency and Morgan Creek, and then worked for Warner Brothers Video Operations. I kind of moved into post-production, and a few other post-production companies, International Video Conversions and HTV and Sunset Post. So I did that for about 10 years, and I was doing the acting as well during that time from 1994 to about 2003. So what I would do is I would work a swing shift from 4 p.m. to about midnight, go home, sleep, and then pretty much from 8 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. I would focus on acting. So I felt like I had a job from basically 8 a.m. to about 1 a.m. or 12:30 a.m. So
That's what you got to do to make it happen, though, man.
that's right. You do.
Yep.
You definitely do.
Wow.
Yep. So I was really grateful looking back. I had some wonderful experiences. I'm still having great experiences. But, back then, Kevin Costner was on the Warner Brothers lot, and Mel Gibson and Clint Eastwood. So I got to meet those guys. And, when you're in your 20s, it was pretty special. So.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that lifestyle. You just run into all these, a guy from Richmond, you're running into all these superstars. I mean, they're superstars.
It was a great time in my life, definitely. So, but I want to certainly talk about magic. It's a love that I continue to have today. Got into magic kind of in high school, and just was always fascinated with the craft. And David Copperfield came into Richmond a couple of times, and I went to see his show, and just was in awe of him. So I just thought it was just amazing what he could do on stage. And just always kind of had it as a hobby and kept it going throughout college. And when I moved to LA, I started going to the Magic Castle, the world-famous Magic Castle there in Hollywood. And I've had great memories at the castle. I hope they will eventually reopen, with the pandemic, but who knows?
I don't see the castle going anywhere. I know there's a lot of naysayers and people saying stuff, but I mean, if they can, if Copperfield and Penn and Teller can throw money and keep that magic shop in Chicago alive, I think all magicians will come together to keep the castle alive. We need it.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to seeing you perform there one day.
That would be awesome.
See you and Natalie perform there. That would be great.
Well, I just got to call Jack Goldfinger, but since it's closed, I mean, the only thing they're doing right now is virtual stuff. So since when in Penn and Teller, they're telling me it's a shoe-in, but it's a year wait list. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yep. It'll happen. You'll perform there. So I'm hoping the castle will reopen later this year. There's no set date yet, but we just hope for the best.
Are you a member there?
I because of I've got so many contacts there. I've thought about joining, but then the pandemic hit, and I've been spending more time in Richmond, Virginia, here in Richmond. So I've decided not to join, but I think I eventually will.
Yeah,
I definitely think I will. But I've been real fortunate. I know so many magicians, and they just put you on their guest list, and you tip them at the door. And you go right in. It's such an upscale place, just a wonderful place to go to have dinner and just have a good time. You have to dress up. You've got to wear a coat and tie, and the women have to look very nice. But it's really a special place. So I encourage anyone who's in LA to try and go if they can whenever it reopens.
And even if you're not in LA, make a trip. You got to do it. Bucket list.
That's right. You got to. You definitely do.
So, well, you said Copperfield, you love Lance Burton, Siegfried and Roy.
Yep, they were my biggest influences for sure.
So.
Yep. So I had some great trips from Vegas. Las Vegas is about a 5-hour drive. Now, if you go probably 75, 80 miles per hour, you can do it in 4 hours and 15 minutes or 4.5 hours. But I've taken a lot of road trips from LA to Vegas, and I would see Lance Burton. I got to know Lance's assistant, so I probably saw Lance perform maybe 5 times at the Monte Carlo Hotel. And Siegfried and Roy, I'm very blessed. I got to see them perform. Of course, they both passed away this within the last year. It's very sad, but I was fortunate to see them perform at the Mirage. So I'll always have that great memory.
That's so awesome. I never got to see Siegfried and Roy. I never got to see Lance Burton. Natalie and I went to Vegas in 2008, and he was dark that night. So the night that we had scheduled to try to make him work, it didn't work. It's like, daggone it.
Yeah.
But we took in 2 shows a day. Magic in 2008 was everywhere in Vegas. I mean, it's still, you could probably still get in at least a show a day if you're there for a week. But in 2008, we got in 2 shows a day for a week.
Yeah, it was huge. Lance was wonderful. And it's great, you got YouTube, so you can watch his specials on YouTube now. And, he had, I think, probably one of the greatest bird acts, dove acts ever. I just always loved watching his dove act.
I can't believe he retired. He just gave it up to live on a farm, and it's just like, Lance, come on, man. We need you. We love you.
Yeah.
We want to see you.
I know it was very sad when he decided to kind of walk away, but
God bless him. He can do what he wants, man.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I don't think I can. If I hit the lottery, I'm still gonna be doing magic. I'm not liking sitting at home twiddling my thumbs.
That's right.
So yeah. I don't know. I've had the farm life. I've had a year of this, Lance. I'm not doing it. I've been feeding the chickens every day. It's not what you think it is, man.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot of work. Yeah, he wants to go back to Kentucky. I think he's still in Vegas right now.
No, he's already gone. He's in Kentucky. On his Facebook page, he's living his grandpa's farm.
Oh my! He has left Las Vegas. I knew he was planning on doing that. I didn't know he's already left.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. He's showing pictures on Facebook of his grandpa's farm that he's,
Wow, I've got him. Yep. Well, I've sent him messages occasionally on Instagram, so I need to. I didn't realize that. So thank you for telling me that.
Yeah. So I go hang out with him in Kentucky and help muck a chicken coop just to hang out with him.
There you go.
Heck yeah, man. So, what are you up to now? That brings us up to now, I guess.
Yeah. It's I'm got a beautiful wife, and I've got a 2, and actually, he just turned 3 yesterday. So I've got a 3-year-old little boy, Scott, and then a 4-year-old little girl, Victoria. Very blessed with my family. And we have a home here in Richmond. We still spend time in Los Angeles. We've kind of been bi-coastal from here in Studio City, Toluca Lake area. So it's been good. My brother, I think I mentioned I moved to LA from August 1994 to April 2003. I came home. I wanted to buy a home, and I bought a home here for a couple of years from 03 to 05, and then I went back to LA for a great job opportunity, and I was there for a couple of years again. And then in May of 07, my brother was diagnosed with cancer. So he was diagnosed with a lymphosarcoma in his chest cavity. It was a 10-pound tumor.
Oh, goodness.
And
Golly.
we really didn't think he would make it beyond a year. So I came back and wanted to spend as much time with him as I could. So that's when I met my wife, Laura, and we started dating and started to kind of go back and forth from Richmond and LA with Laura, and we got engaged. But my brother ended up, he fought for a long time. He fought it for 13 years, and he passed away February 11th of last year, 2020. So it hit me hard, but he was an amazing brother. He was an MD, PhD in Greenville, North Carolina. He was a neurologist, and we were extremely close, my best friend. And he worked so hard throughout his life. He went to a private school from kindergarten all the way through his senior year in high school, and then he went to UVA in Charlottesville for his undergrad and was pre-med, and then he went to MCV here in Richmond for his medical school, and then he did his further training at Duke University, Duke Medical Center in Durham, North Carolina, and he ended up in Greenville, and he was living there the past 13 or 14 years, and he fought so hard, his cancer, and he's been such an inspiration, and I think about him every day. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about my brother, and it's really all throughout the day. It's something I'm never going to get over, and he was sick for so long that I just thought he would kind of keep going because I was so used to him having this condition, and he had about 15 surgeries over a 13-year time span. It was painful to watch, but he would take about a month or 2 off from work and then get back to work, and he had some chemo and radiation throughout those 13 years, but late last January, we're coming up on a year. He just got real sick and went in the hospital, and we thought he'd be okay, and he just his body just gave out. So
I'm sorry.
Think about him all the time, and I would always do magic for him. He loved magic. So
did he leave a wife and kids behind?
He did. He ended up adopting 2 children from Latvia, right outside of province there in Russia, and he adopted them, and it's been pretty hard on them since my brother's death. So they're now in Raleigh with their mother in Raleigh, North Carolina, and they're doing, taking it a day at a time, and I'm trying to step in and be a father to them as much as I can.
That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. So one day at a time.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So as far as acting and stuff, what are you up to now?
Yeah, I'm up for a series that's going to shoot here in Richmond. It's called Dope Sick. It's Michael Keaton is the lead.
Neat.
From Batman.
That's cool.
Back in, I guess that first Batman came out
6 Batmans ago.
Yeah.
A lot of Batmans ago, but I'm on hold for a role in that. That's going to be a great project. The director of Rain Man, which is probably my favorite film with Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman, he is directing the pilot, or the first episode, rather. I think it's an 8-episode miniseries called Dope Sick. So it should be pretty good. Just the writing, what I've read, it's just very smart writing, and it's subject matter that certainly needs to be addressed. So
what is that going to air on? Is it like a Hulu type thing, or ABC, NBC, or?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a network. That's a great question. I think it's going to be on network, just the regular network television. But
wow.
So that's going, and certainly because of the pandemic, just the whole auditioning process has changed so much that I'm doing these self-tapes where you submit yourself on projects on Actors Access, and you just self-tape. So you set up your camera and your lighting, and that's how the business has changed. I mean, you don't always have to be in LA. That you can self-tape from anywhere, and you send your self-tape in through Actors Access, and you wait and hear if they want to take it a step further.
Do you see that sticking around after, or you think it's going to go right back to normal?
I actually see it sticking around.
Yeah.
I really do. I think that the pandemic's going to continue through this year. Certainly the vaccine's going to help just a tremendous amount. But I just think this is going to be the way it's going to be for quite a while with the self-tapes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's people working from home, realizing they can, and the technology's there. I think a lot of people are going to be staying at home. So I think, entertainment industry, this virtual magic shows might stick around. Certain companies just say, hey, look, we don't need you to come to our company party. You'll just be on the big screen. Do your thing.
That's right. That's right.
So people know it's been around. I was listening to a podcast from 2013, and there was a famous comedian, I can't think of his name right now, from Last Comic Standing. He won like year 2. But he'd been doing virtual comedy shows for business meetings all over the world. So he would go to like India and Bangladesh and Japan and do his comedy at home in his office for their office meetings. And he said he was loving it.
Yeah, I believe it.
So, I mean, that's way back in 2013, so who knows?
Yeah, everything's just changed because of the pandemic. So it's, and I think it's going to be this way through this year. But certainly they're rolling out the vaccine. That's going to help. But I don't know. I'm not seeing things certainly changing much the next 6 months.
Well, Virginia's on lockdown till the end of January.
Right.
So
at least, yeah.
But we've booked 13 shows in the past 2 weeks. So people are starting to book shows for the summertime.
That's great.
That's
great.
October, December. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Yep.
It's one resort and a couple shows.
Because Los Angeles is really in lockdown right now. I mean, it's obviously the Magic Castle's closed. Just, no premieres, just very little film and TV production going on as far as I know. So think the East Coast is probably the better spot to be right now.
My publicist is in a 700 square foot apartment, and she's beating her head against the wall because protests are happening right in front of her house. She lives near Sunset, and she said, Black Lives Matter are walking right up and down her street, and she leaves town to hang out with her mom because she's scared, and she says, she's used to doing red carpets and different things, and there's nothing for her to do.
Yeah, it's just very quiet. I was out there for about 6 weeks, from around September 18th through about November 3rd, and just very sad. The homeless situation has escalated, certainly in the Studio City, Toluca Lake, North Hollywood area, but it's all over. It's very sad, and the pandemic has gotten even worse since I've left to come home for the holidays. But you hope LA can bounce back.
It will. They have to figure out that homeless situation, though. Because everybody's complaining about it. Something's got to be done. Something's got to be done. You can't just sweep it under the rug because they're just getting. People aren't going to want to come. You're going to mess up tourism. You're messing up. Yeah. And
that's right, Wes.
They're going to have to figure out something. So.
Yep.
I don't know. What I heard recently was they put porta potties under the bridges to keep the smell down. And that's not.
Wow.
I mean, that's putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound.
Yeah.
So
that's I believe it. I live pretty close to one of those underpasses, and it would get bad. I mean, it was tent after tent, and you feel so sorry for these individuals. You really do. And I would take them milk and some food and things like that. Just would do what I could to help them out.
It's so crazy out there with the homeless, though. My publicist, I'm telling her that I'm doing my Magic of Giving project where I give back in a magical way. And she's like, well, in all your videos, I haven't seen you, do anything for the homeless. Why don't you do that this month? And I'm like, here, we'd have to drive around and look for them. And she's like, she's stepping over them every day. She doesn't have to look for them at all. And she can't wrap her head around what it's like here.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's night and day. It's very different here, certainly in Richmond, and you're just not seeing that many. But you go out to LA, they're just all over. So it's too bad.
Anyway, so you worked pre-production, post-production. You were making copies for scripts for all these people. Did you ever try to do a script yourself? Did you ever try to pitch anything or come up with any ideas?
That's a great question. And I'm about halfway through a script, and it's been years, and I think I'm going to finish it. One of my closest friends is Damian Neiman, and he's a writer-director. If you ever get a chance, and we met through Magic. He's an incredible card mechanic, but he wrote and directed a film called Shade with Sylvester Stallone and Jamie Foxx and Thandie Newton and Gabriel Byrne. Damian's just been a great mentor and friend, but it's a film that he did. So we talk a lot about script ideas, and he's got 10 or 12 just great scripts that I'm trying to get produced, and there are a couple of them that were in and are looking pretty good that we may be able to get made. So, but I'm producing is a big interest, and working on that right now, trying to get a couple of his projects going. And I've been real fortunate, Wes. I've worked for some great companies. Just on the business side, I worked for a company called Joe's Jeans, was a denim apparel company I worked for out in LA. And
was that modeling or that was the business side?
No, that was the business side.
Okay.
That was the business side. I worked in corporate relations for Joe's Jeans. And then worked in real estate development here back in Richmond with my father. Really enjoyed that. We developed a 440-acre multi-use park up off Interstate 95. My dad, he had a business partner. It's right across from Bass Pro Shops. So if you drive up 95, you can't miss it. But he did that. In LA, I was fortunate. I worked for Xerox, the big company Xerox, and a company called Trinet. So I've tried to be a worker my whole life, and really just stay focused and work hard and try and work smart as well.
Well, you're a go-getter, man. I mean, you constantly on the go, constantly making contacts, constantly going.
I try. Yes, I definitely try.
All right. So for my own justification, for my own pleasure, You got to tell me about the Superman audition a little bit. I know you
Yes.
poo-poo it because you didn't get it. Don't poo-poo it because you didn't get it. Dude, they don't... I told Natalie, I said, they don't ask Danny DeVito to show up for a Superman audition. You got to have a certain look.
Well, you know, they what I'd heard, they wanted to go with an unknown. So I said, all right, this is an opportunity at least to get in there and show them what I can do. And I think I gave a great audition. I did one audition as Clark Kent and then one audition as Superman, and they ended up just going with Brandon Routh. And I think he did a good job. You know, what's amazing about him, he sounds exactly like Christopher Reeve, and I don't. But if you listen to him, it's pretty amazing that he has the same voice as Christopher Reeve, the original.
I've never noticed that. I'm going to have to go check that out.
Yeah, listen to him. But he, you know, they went with the dark black hair, and he actually, I don't think he's got blue eyes, but they colored them in post-production. I think they made his eyes blue in the post-production process. So it was painful. I mean, I was really hoping that would have been a great breakthrough.
Yeah.
To get a role like that, but it just didn't happen. So it was a great experience, you know, meeting the casting director. They cast it out of Warner Brothers, and you know, it was one of those moments, and it just didn't fall for me.
So if they told you to talk like Christopher Reeves, I mean, would that be something that you practice, or would that be so far out of your wheelhouse?
I definitely think, and obviously I would have no problem coloring my hair black.
Right. Yeah.
Because actually, for the audition, I did darken it up for the audition, and so physically I worked out really hard. You know, I put on a spandex tight shirt, kind of an Under Armour spandex blue shirt for when I did the Superman part of the audition, and then the Clark Kent, I had the glasses and tie. So yeah, I thought I did a great job on the audition. It just they went in a different direction. That's just the way it goes. So
wow. Well, you have to talk to Natalie. Maybe she can hire you for my party. You can show up here as Superman.
Oh, jeez.
That would be great.
I know. We can't afford you now, but hopefully after the pandemic, that would be awesome, dude.
That is really nice of you to say that would be great, because in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Wes, why? That's funny.
That would be a lot of fun.
Dude, that would be so cool. I would pay you well too. I know you're a real actor, man. This is a kid. This is like a kid's birthday party.
Yeah, you know, Ben Affleck tells a funny story that one of the reasons he took the role of Batman is because he wanted to show up at his son's birthday party as Batman, and he did do that.
That's so awesome.
Doing that after the film came out. So that's a funny story. But,
Yeah, that's neat.
That's so awesome.
No, but see, if you did that, Wes would make you. He would want you to show up as Clark Kent and then transform into Superman. That's what he would want.
I don't know. We'll think about it.
We'll think about it.
Give
Okay.
Natalie some prices. No, so for all my listeners, David is a buddy of mine. He'll come over. We'll hang out. We'll play Magic. I say play Magic. We do Magic together. I'll teach him some stuff. We'll share ideas with Magic and stuff and just have a great time. But when he told me that, he just dropped it as I have Superman all over my house. And he just said, I read for that one time and blew it off. And I'm like, no. You don't blow that off. That is awesome, man. That is so cool.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, one of those great, fun experiences. So, and I've been real fortunate. You know, I'm looking back kind of through my IMDb profile, and I've certainly, I guess, paid my dues. I remember doing those USC Southern California, University of Southern California thesis films, graduate films. You know, I did those, and just a lot of fun times in LA, and I'm sure I'm going to have more. My children have gotten into the business, and my son, at 6 weeks old, was cast as Ashton Kutcher's little baby on the Netflix show The Ranch.
No way.
He did about 8 episodes of that. So they're in the film and TV business.
Whoa.
Very
Scott
cool.
and Victoria. Yeah, they've got over 6,500 Instagram followers.
Wow. I didn't know that at all. What about your wife? Is she in business at all?
She did modeling growing up. She did some pageants, And she's never really done that much of the acting, but more modeling when she was younger.
So where was the ranch
So-
filmed? Was that L.A.?
Yep, that was in L.A. Yeah, about a year and a half ago.
Wow, that is so awesome.
Yep,
I had no
it's-
idea.
Yeah, so their Instagrams are the Scott Gibbs and the Victoria Gibbs. And then I am Real, R-E-A-L, Real David Gibbs on Instagram.
So here, let me do your plugs real quick. So
Okay.
Instagram, at Real David Gibbs, like he just said. Website is davidgibbs.org.
That's right.
Facebook, David Gibbs, that's Gibbs. IMDb is David Gibbs II. LinkedIn, Real David Gibbs. Now, also
go.
on your IMDb stuff, you have like some wrestling appearances and things. Is that what was that?
Yeah, well, I've got friends that are pro wrestlers, some acquaintances. The Edge, he's retired. He's been retired for but he's made a comeback actually. But he retired about 8 years ago. The Edge, they call him the rated R superstar. So I met him at the Super Bowl in Florida at the halftime, and then Randy Orton. We text a little bit. I met him at the Beverly Hills Hotel. The WWE had a big summer party. They used to have SummerSlam out in LA. So I've always been a big wrestling fan, WWE. So when they would come into Richmond, I would go to the shows at the Richmond Coliseum or the Staples Center in LA. So that's where I've seen the guys perform.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, man, you got that IMDb is still growing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to juggle. I'm involved in real estate here in Virginia, and the stock market keeps me busy. But still doing a lot of self-tapes, and certainly there's so many different outlets now to get your work out there with YouTube. The various, as you guys have done, you and Natalie, the various. You got YouTube and. When back in the 90s, we didn't have this stuff, Wes.
Yeah.
Social media, I remember I would just take my black and white 8x10 headshot and have to go around and drop it off to casting director offices. And, now no one has headshots. Everything is digital. Everything's online. So it's just changed so much, the business.
Everywhere, though. Magic
Yep.
as well. Everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's great with Magic. Nothing I don't think will ever take the place of, being there with, performing it live. I think it's, although, with Copperfield on TV, it's great. His specials and David Blaine, but you can't beat a live performance.
Yeah. You can see the cards in his hand.
That's right.
You can answer a lot of those questions. You have doubts in your mind. You can answer them
Yeah.
right there. You're right there.
Yeah, that's right.
I wonder if that was camera angling. Well, no. I mean,
There you go.
It wasn't
And a guy
because
like-
you're right there. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Well, dude, thank you for doing this with us, man. We had a blast. That hour flew by.
Yes, it did. I had a great time.
And you keep me in the loop about the project you have, Dope Sick,
Yeah.
please. And I'll share it on my social media and everything as soon as you find out show times or where it's going to be at. And if you want to come back on and talk about it.
We'll want to watch it. Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
That'd be great. That would be just great.
Dude, you're awesome. Hold on one second. I'm going to do a couple plugs, and then we'll wrap everything up. Just stay on the line.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
You got
man.
it. You got it. Thanks, Wes. Thanks, Natalie.
Thank you.
All right. All 16 episodes of Wes Iseley's Magiclife Season 1 are now available on Jewel TV. Jewel TV's on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and the Jewel TV app, and tons of other places. Over 100 million households. All you have to do is look for it. You can find it. And for a limited time, all 16 episodes are available on YouTube, so you can catch up on Season 1 before Season 2 debuts in February.
See you next week.
Today's episode of the podcast is sponsored by Express Copy and Graphics. Mention promo code Wes Iseli to get 10% off. Their website is expresscopy.com. That's XPRESS-COPY.com. They do it all. Copies, banners, signs, vehicle wraps, promo items, practically anything you need printed, they can do it for you. These guys are great. Check them out. Check us out online at wesiseli.com and patreon.com/Wes_Isley for behind-the-scenes videos, blooper videos, never-before-seen footage, discounts on merchandise, magic trick tutorials, and more. That's Wes Iseli, spelled Wesiseli.